Tom, dude, thanks for coming.
Of course, my man.
So what I'm super excited to start rolling out, and I'm going to introduce this a few times as we do newer episodes of The Real.
Yeah.
I just want to interview some impressive people in the Silicon Valley that are doing cool stuff, and really deep dive into, one, how you got to where you got to, a little bit about your background, but then like super deep dive on something relevant and interesting. I've got a cool topic for you that we're going to get to. So first off, dude, how did you stumble into digital marketing? Like, this is something that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear all about it.
Background, really. I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do growing up, right? I just knew I wanted to make some money and kind of be financially free, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So the way that first started was going into college, did the whole stereotypical thing, pick a degree where you can kind of take a path that's going to get you a certain amount of income, whatever.
Yeah.
And I got scared, man. So what I ended up doing was my options at the time were political science to possibly go into law.
Okay.
I went to UC Irvine, right?
Okay.
So Zot and Eater Nation. And it was either that.
It's not Pac-12.
It's not. It's all good. We don't have a. So the funny thing about the school, right? We gave up a football team for the largest science library west of the Mississippi, and it is designed like the Starship Enterprise. True story.
Sick. Okay. Okay.
So undefeated football team because we don't have one. I'll take it.
Cleveland Browns the last week.
I know, right? Yeah, so, I mean, long story short, I doubled because I had no idea what I wanted to do, right? So economics was the only business type of major at the time, and political science if I wanted to go into law. Bumping up into my fourth year, I was scared, right?
Sure.
All the social pressures, the parental pressures, what do you want to do, what do you want to be? I was like, I have no idea. Because I was partying and just being in college kid up there.
Sure.
Right? So what I do was I studied abroad. I left the country.
Okay. Where'd you go?
In Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
Dude, I came to America. I haven't left. So
See?
at least you came back.
I came back. And what I found there was just like, it's just nothing is going to give you that type of life experience outside of experiencing
Sure.
that, right? Studying abroad. It taught me a lot about myself, and I realized that all I was doing was chasing a paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
Think about it, right? We're like early 20s,
Sure.
just kind of keeping up with the buddies that are trying to do things and climb. I didn't know if the corporate ladder was right for me or not. I knew I could do it. But what I realized was at the time I was lucky enough to have a mentor, and some of the things that he instilled upon me, it was one question at home that I asked, my nieces and nephews today. If you never had to worry about money ever again, what would you do?
What would you do?
I had no answer to that.
Do you have an answer now?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah. Travel, be with my friends and family. I want to be able to experience and live life, right, on my own terms. And a lot of that is through experiences, right? Traveling, eating, just doing new things, right? And I didn't have that before.
Mm-hmm.
And before I wasn't even able to, I didn't have a mindset around that because
Sure.
I had never had that frame of mind.
Yeah.
Right. So long story short, being in Europe, that's really kind of where I realized, chasing a paycheck, what the heck am I to do? Right. Then books came into my life, personal development. Right. That's where I was.
What's scary is this. We could do this for like.
Anyway,
I could do this for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because we're on such a similar page. It's like something that ticked for me probably when I was 24 or 25, and I was same thing, chasing the paycheck. It was, what if money was removed from the equation? What would you do with your time? And mine would be, and my answer is still to this day is, I want to be able to do anything I want with whoever I want,
Whenever I want.
whenever I want to do it. That's it. That's freedom, right?
Yeah.
And so something that fascinates, for record, we've only chatted for probably like 2 hours of life at this point. Like we just met each other. Something that I'm already so fascinated and intrigued by you with is having a digital marketing savvy and really understanding the intricacies of digital is the modern day salesman.
Yeah.
Like back in the 50s and the 60s when the sales guys were the dudes driving around with Porsches, they were the guys that made all the money, they could do whatever they want. That shit's changed. Like now it's, the sales guys can still get there to like the $300,000, $400,000 a year type level. They can. Maybe the really good ones can go higher. The skill of intense, deep, hyper-targeted digital marketing is something that can take you 100x beyond that in this day and age.
Yeah.
It's the new thing.
The internet has been the biggest equalizer, right?
For sure.
We can act as a large corporation, but be as nimble as a small one.
Mm-hmm.
So we can actually do things and implement a lot faster, get our results, see what that data looks like, and then pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You couldn't do that back then because you didn't have access to the data.
Yeah, at real time.
Yeah.
Real time.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's fun. I mean, I enjoy it, but kind of where I was at the time. I'll fast forward a little bit. I got into real estate because we had talked about this before, right? The 3 necessities in life, no matter what time, no matter what age: food, clothing, shelter, never going to go away. Never going to go away.
Yeah.
You're always going to be fed. You're always going to be clothed. You're always going to be housed, right? So I looked at that, and I also, at the time, right, I discovered Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, Andrew Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I'm still fascinated here. I've got 6,200 properties or something.
It's amazing.
It's insane.
And then when you look at, say, the track record of either people, like legacies have been made and built, and wealth has either been created or preserved through real estate, and it's been through time. I mean,
That's not going to change.
Hello, right? I mean,
we exist in a 2D plane.
Absolutely.
Own more of that 2D space.
Exactly, right? So like how I fell into digital was in my real estate investing career. I looked at my competitors. These guys have been in the game for generations, right? I mean, just killing it. And I was like, well, how am I going to equal the playing field when they're dropping $5,000 to $10,000 a month in direct mail to get the phone calls, to get the opportunities? I'm a 20-year-old something. Couldn't do it.
This is the same story.
Yeah,
completely.
Didn't know, right? So I reached out to my buddies in the digital space. I'm like, I need some help here, right? And then I've always been fascinated with business, right? Because growing up as like an athlete as well, what I enjoy about it is a lot of those metrics are performance based. Mm-hmm. That's why I enjoy sales stuff too, right? But what I looked at when I looked at digital, what I realized was in business as well, right? What is the lifeblood of any business? Sales and marketing. So if I'm able to equip myself with the skill set to be able to generate leads on demand, no matter where I went.
For any business.
That's
the craziest part.
Then how can I also create a lifestyle for myself that's recurring, that didn't have to be attached to a rental property at the time? 20 years old something.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
That was kind of how I got started. And I just went, just that rabbit hole, man.
How old are you now?
35.
35.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get 7 years on me.
7 years.
If I can get up to that speed in 7 years, I'll be a happy man. Something I want to do that's going to be really interesting here that I didn't tell you about when you came, because I want it to be raw and authentic.
Awesome.
You and I right now are going to build a business in real estate.
Love
as
it.
a real estate agent in Palo Alto, California.
Get it. Let's go.
I'm going to go from 0 to 100 million in sales.
Okay.
That's how we're going to do it.
All right.
I'm going to start, and we're just going to bounce ideas off each
Let's
other
go.
to see where we get to. If I was starting by myself in Palo Alto right now, first thing I'd 100% focus on digital, completely for that reason of I can't compete with 20 grand a month in ads in direct mail spam.
Yeah.
First thing you would do, what'd you do? Where'd you start?
Basis of any type of campaign, regardless. So, my background, right, in marketing.
Sure. 2
different sides to it. There's a branding and awareness side, the large corporations, right, the like the Vanner Medias, Coca-Cola, all these cats, right. There's the branding and awareness type of play, and there's also the direct response marketing, right.
Sure.
So something I was talking to my business partner about today as I was driving up here is there's 2-3 pillar concepts that are involved in every single type of a campaign, regardless of the media that you're deploying, right? So those things, right? Message, market, media, direct response. Message, market, media, no matter what. Who is the market, right? So I'm going to define my campaign based on these buckets or these columns, right? Message, market, media, and know, like, trust. We talked about this, right?
That's why we're doing this.
In the end of the day, if you're not, how can you influence a conversation if you're never a part of it? So if you're not creating content, no one knows about you. So if no one knows about you, how can they like or trust you? Right? One side. Other side, in terms of the message, market, media. Okay, if we're looking at Palo Alto, I'd want to know what the average sales are, right? On the real estate side, let's put our brokerage cap on, right? Who are the competitors? What's the average days on market? How much inventory is out there, right? What's the demand right now? How can we get in front of them and position ourselves in a different way than being a Zillow Premier agent or a Redfin agent or a Zillow Trulia agent, right? Because in the end of the day, we want exclusivity, but we also want people coming into us saying, wow, you're delivering so much value. I'm not even a client of yours yet. How do I work with you? How do we shift that mindset?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I would look at messaging. So tell me a little bit about Palo Alto. We might not be able to do this now, but these are things I want to know, right?
Sure.
What's the age demographic? Who's moving in? Who's moving out?
Gotcha. Probably say middle to an older generation in Palo Alto. There's been a lot of wealth built there over a long time. There are new incoming families that are a bit younger. That's the tech drive has obviously driven people into Palo Alto. It's the Mecca. But I would still say the only people that can afford home ownership, 35 to 40 plus. Because you're not seeing any 32-year-olds unless they've cracked big and IPO'd and sold the company.
Right.
They're not going to be able to afford $2,000 a square foot for a house.
Right.
So all of those people are in one place, one really central place, and it's called Facebook.
Huh.
And this is where I would start, actually, is I would build the content. I'd build a couple of content pieces that are very direct introductions to there's a new competitor in town, and this is how we work. And this is why we're more efficient than the big dog that sends out 1,000 direct mails a week. And I would get that, and I would put that in their inbox by figuring out ways to get either their, through tax records or whatever we're going to do, I'd find their contact information, and I'd dump it into their inbox. And it's, hey, this is Tim from Gueco Real Estate Group. Like, we're moving into Palo Alto. This is how we market your property. This is an international market. We can market to China, we can market to New York, we can go to Europe, we can go everywhere. This is how we would market your property. Just want to introduce myself. Day one. And I sent out 100,000 emails across Palo Alto.
Mm-hmm.
At scale, introducing myself. Now you start to build those retargeting audiences, shifting around the different messages that you want to send to those people because you've already introduced yourself. Most of them probably opened it. Most people can get those emails.
I like where we're going.
Now you start doing some crazy stuff in the retargeting and the distribution of a different message that maybe is more direct to a listing presentation or are you interested in selling, something like that.
Cast a wide net, have people that are interested raise their hand. Continue.
One day. It's theoretically in one day, maybe even a week. If you had a good enough ad spend on Facebook, within a week, I guarantee you could probably get some listing presentations.
Yeah.
New player in the market, 100,000 emails, direct pieces of content to those people. Now you're a player.
Yeah. So looking at the media, right? If we are defining the first medium to be email, and then layering that with Facebook in a digital play, right? Mm-hmm. What I would say in precursor to outlining the message in the email would be interviewing the avatar. Okay, I was talking to actually a buddy about this in a different area in San Jose, in Cambridge, right? In the Cambrian area. Same kind of concept. A lot of land, underdeveloped, and it's just prime for opportunity.
Cambridge is South San Jose?
Cambrian, yeah.
Cambrian. Oh, yeah, okay,
Cambrian.
Perfect.
So, in that same concept, if you were to be able to survey the people that were looking to sell, ask them get in their head, really. What are your needs and wants? What do you kind of want? Because in the end of the day, if you have all this equity, you can't live off of equity. We all know that. Right?
Yeah.
But it's the exchange of equity. You can't buy food with equity. You can't pay your bills with equity, right? So what are your options? What are you looking for? Get into their heads. If you can enter that conversation in the beginning, you're going to pique interest.
Exactly.
Right? And then it's like, oh, by the way, we're the new kids on the block. We do things a little different because we've talked to you. I've surveyed your neighborhood. These are the things that all of you had said when you've been considering selling, right? Where are you going to move to? What's that lifestyle look like? What's my community look like? Right? How far away are my kids going to be? What is the importance of those things, right? Would you like to participate in the survey so that we could share those results with you to see what's the most important and to help us match you with the right type of environment for your relocation, whether that's in-state, out-of-state, and what those areas could look like, and then what those demographics would be. If you're going to do it, why not do it at mass?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And following back from that thought of modern-day salesperson, old-school salesperson used to be the dude. Real estate is marketing. It's marketing based. Right. It's not sales. It's got nothing to do with sales. If you can market something well enough, you don't have to sell it because it's sold itself.
That's right.
If I can get into your inbox and then I follow you around on Facebook for a little while, I'm proving that I'm a better marketer than anyone else because I'm already there.
Yeah.
I've already said hi.
Yeah.
In a personal way.
Yeah.
In a really weird, creepy personal way.
Well, here's the other thing too, though, right? About that is there's ways in which you can layer that we've talked about.
Yeah.
If you have emails, right, then you can create these custom audiences inside of Facebook and inside of Google that we've talked about. Mm-hmm. So if you're layering your message, traditional sales, right, 7 to 11 or 12 touches before someone makes a buying decision.
Sure.
That's where we're layering on branding and awareness, right? Might not know who I am, but the information and the subject matter is of interest and of value to you. Yeah. Let's start there.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, well, who are these people? Then start layering in your branding, your personality, your culture, right? Yeah. And as it resonates resonates with them. But my whole point in saying that is, how much more effective will your campaign be if you were able to do like multi-channel, email, Facebook, Google,
YouTube,
LinkedIn, direct mail piece. Oh, here's a cool one. I was actually talking to a buddy the other day. They do residential as well, but they're in the residential service business, right?
Okay.
So what they'll do is they'll stat dump in a new area because their client acquisition game plan is record a video, share some stats with their service in an area. They do residential, professional, window washing, gutters and siding cleaning.
Gotcha. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So my boys are saying, hey, this is what we do. We'll go into a new area that we want to acquires a new business in, this is how they set up their targeting. Married, multiple kids, income level above X benchmark.
Sure.
Right? Higher middle class in that area. Because why? You have the discretionary income, you got kids, so you're not going to do it yourself. Right?
Okay.
I can afford it, and I don't
Okay.
have the time for it.
Okay.
Right? So that's how they're layering their data to dial in their messaging.
Sure.
Right? Then the stat dump comes, right? On average, people in this neighborhood will clean their windows X amount of time. We're coming upon a pretty harsh winter. Have you considered cleaning your gutters out yet? Because you know, in our neighborhood, blah, blah, blah happens this much. So why not prevent that headache now? Right? So after this happens, they run this to warm them up. Pain point touch. This is what the average is. You might want to consider this now. We're just warning you because remember how last year was?
Yeah.
Right? Then the direct mail piece hits. Right? After that, they run a digital campaign. Hey, remember me? Remember this piece? Did it hit your mail? We're just circling back and just making sure you got that. And by the way, don't forget about the offer.
You can get creepy.
You can get creepy.
You can get super creepy. I'm really excited to get super creepy in San Francisco.
You think about the data that we
Yeah,
have. I mean,
yeah.
just in like just the mail, right? With
I
post office.
apologize. I apologize in advance to people. It's like, I'm fucking following you around. I planned that. It's going to be, super interesting.
Right?
So okay, so you've jumped from, got the first couple of listings, you've entered the Palo Alto market, you've been in people's inboxes, you followed on Facebook, your first few, 10x the ad spend, realistically, churn them out.
Yeah, and I think
Just
the
like
beautiful thing about that and what we're doing here is we're demonstrating and documenting our expertise.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
No one cares how much you know unless they know how much you care. But and also, like, when you get into the position of like what makes you qualified, let me show you rather than tell you.
Yeah.
It's show and tell
Yes,
at its
yes.
highest level, right?
And that's the difference in marketing and sales too. Sales is tell. I can do
Absolutely.
this, I'm really good at that. Marketing's like, check this out, we're done.
Yeah.
I'm in front of you.
I have nothing to do to sell this because I've documented our entire process.
Mhm.
This is what we've done for Sarah and John down the street.
Oh yeah.
Look at what we've done for them. Look at
Yeah.
the people that we're reaching.
Exactly. In Kevin's case, sold a house in one day yesterday, right?
Yeah.
One day, just like that.
Well, check out the intel on the other side, right? So
Yeah.
we understand that listings are gold, right? We get that. On the flip side, in terms of understanding the buyer demographic as well.
That's where it's gonna get super interesting.
Well, the cool thing is if you know, like, what if you knew that there was an active investing firm in the area? How would you know? Go to the records, see what LLCs have been buying and selling these things, right? Contact them, right? If there's relocation specialists in certain areas, if you wanted to basically use LinkedIn as a tool to figure out who are the relocation specialists for these large firms that have these people that can afford to move into these areas, it would be a LinkedIn Sales Navigator would be your number one tool,
Yeah.
right? You'd understand what the job title was. You search for job title, then you do a geo fence around it to figure out where they are, and then do an outreach to them.
I hate that you bring this up while Kevin's in the room because that's supposed to be what I'm doing.
Hey, it's okay, but like I told you, I was bringing fire today.
We're getting there.
I had a conversation. I want to add one more thing, right? And we'll go.
72 hours of myself in the same day, every day.
I know,
That's
every
what I
day,
need.
every day. And what I enjoy about it is the conversation that anyone will have with a single channel marketer versus a multi-channel marketer, right?
Very different conversations.
Absolutely.
Different angles.
It's not even apples to oranges. It's even hard to make that comparison.
It's just different language.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? We've talked about it from the get of this part of the conversation. We've already talked about email, direct mail, video content, right? Pre and post Facebook to say, hey, this is who we are. Do you remember us?
Yeah.
Right? This is what we can do. Give us a shot. Here, by the way, this is what your neighbors are saying. Who else is
And
doing
this is
that?
this is what's working.
Yeah, everyone else is getting a just listed, coming soon, just sold flyer, and then getting door knocked. That's all fine and dandy, but you can't do that to the masses. And who cares? Because if I don't get it from you, I'm getting it from somebody else.
And you can, and following that point is you can. I think there's certain parts of this country. There are a lot of parts. There's 99% of this country. A lot of that stuff will work. But when you bridge into San Francisco, into Palo Alto, into LA, San Jose, international buying demographics, you will not survive. You can't live.
Yeah.
The investors in Shanghai can't see your place. That's
They're not
6 million
walking
dollars.
through and showing up for your open house unless you're
No, they're
FaceTiming them,
fucking
right?
No chance. No chance. And yeah, that's the crazy part. It's as simple as this. I want to circle back. I want to finish this off. What I want to finish all these chats on because it's supposed to be real. I want this to be
Real
fucking
talk,
real.
man.
Legacy. What do you want to be, leave, do with this life? What do you want to do?
Great question.
Big question.
I've asked my mentors this too, and I think I don't know if I may
I
not
don't
have shared
even
that
have
with
my
you.
answer, but I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I know my answer is always going to be evolving because
Sure.
as being a young father now, of course, my mindset after I had my two girls has shifted. But some of the things I want to instill in them, right? I actually talked to another friend of mine about this who has kids that are a little older, and what he had said that I'll never forget, that I've kind of internalized was, the one thing I'll never want to deprive my kids of is this survival skill set, right? Because one of my fears, right, was that traditionally wealth will skip a generation. And now I'm like, well, why is that?
Yeah,
Why does that happen? And you think about it, like, why is the statistic of international people coming to America with less, knowing less, why is their probability of being being successful more than a person that's natively born here?
They can survive.
They can survive, and they don't understand the concept of no.
Yeah.
You keep telling me that, but I'm keep doing what I gotta do, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things that I want to be able to instill in my kids. I want to be able to show that, but the legacy is the stuff that we've talked about. What can I do today to set them up for the future opportunity? And with one of my good friends, Billy Jean, as you guys know, from Billy Jean Marketing, what he had said, I asked him the same question, right? And what he had said, and we have, my firstborn is around his daughter's age,
Okay.
right? And what he had said was, I'm going to hold her to a different standard, a different level, because she has the opportunity. She can pick whatever she wants to do. Right? He firmly believes in mentorship, apprenticeship, coaches, right? Because what's the fastest way to being able to get to a certain skill set, right? Find someone that has what you want, do the same thing, right?
Copy. Yeah.
It's a modeling business, right?
Exactly.
So he had said, whatever she wants to do, doesn't matter to me. But whatever she's going to do, she's going to commit to, and I'm going to do everything I can to hold her accountable to being the best that she could be. That stuck home for me, right? So for my kids, I want them to be able to choose that path, but choose something. You do not have an option to be lazy. That's not an option. Your option is to leave an impact in society, do what you want to do to future cast. And the best way for me to kind of put it, as I think about this in terms of how grateful I am for the people that are in my life, is how can I pay you back? Every single one of them in one way or another has said, pay it forward.
Pay it forward. Leave it better than you found it. Pay it forward.
That's all I want. I want to, if I could leave that and
family,
instill
man.
that in them, it's rock.
Unreal, dude.
You know, that's
Unreal.
I'm about tribe, man.
How are you gonna? This will be the last one. How are you going to train survivorship?
Yeah.
Survival mentality.
I believe in
How do you do that?
I believe in it takes a village.
Okay.
Right? That whole concept was instilled in me growing up too. Growing up playing basketball and running track, we did a whole bunch of community stuff, right? And I wholeheartedly see that now. As my kids are going to school, I see how much they're picking up from others.
Sure.
Right? How to do that? I want to be able to give them, being able to position them in those environments to have them do that. What I enjoy so much about team sports is sacrificing one for all.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? That
Completely.
discipline.
I'm such a firm believer in team
Yeah.
sports. You have to be able to do it.
Showing up,
Yep.
sacrificing, giving it your all, understanding what your
Even
role
if you
is.
don't play.
Doesn't matter. You have a role,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also on the flip side, the individual side of the mindset. That's what I knew growing up I was lacking in competitive sports. When the lights came on, mindset wasn't always there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I want to be able to give them those, I want to be able to help them learn these lessons in different environments and situations that do not involve me, because quite frankly, they shouldn't come from me, right?
It's really, yeah.
It's message and messenger, you know? I mean, like being married and being with my wife for so long,
Completely.
right? There's certain things I know that if I said to her, but one of our, say, like our strength and conditioning coach said to her, it would resonate way much.
Completely.
Yeah,
I'm a big proponent of learning shit for yourself too.
you have to.
I'll circle on it. Sorry, didn't want this to be about me. It's about you.
No, let's talk.
What taught me survivorship? So obviously I came to this country. I was by myself. My parents were all back in Melbourne. Team sport, very competitive team athlete. As soon as I got out of college, dude, I didn't have a visa. I couldn't work. I couldn't legally work. I literally couldn't make $1. But I didn't want to go back to Melbourne because there was this weird part of me that thought going back to Melbourne was failing. Like,
Gotcha.
I had to go home.
Yeah. You burned the ships already.
Yeah, and so I was down in Huntington Beach, and this is where survivorship came in, and I use this to this day. I was staying on a buddy's couch. I had $4.72 to my name, and couldn't legally work. And he had 3 daughters at the time. He was 27, 28, like had no money either. I bought a jar of peanut butter, and I was eating. I ate a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter every now and then for like 2 weeks. Just to figure out what the fuck I was going to do.
Yep.
And I felt bad drinking his coffee. That's how little I used his stuff, because
Yeah.
I knew he couldn't afford any of
Yeah.
that. And in that process, though, you're like, shit, what do I do? This is 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And you figure it out. And I was never going to ask my parents for money. I was too proud to ask my parents for money. Like, and you figure out, okay, I've got to solve one problem, then solve the next problem, then solve the next problem. And you solve enough problems, and you realize you can solve fucking any problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that hard to solve problems to get from A to B.
Yeah.
And that survivorship, I have no idea how I'm going to teach that to my kids. But it might be just, all right, off you go figure it out.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what my parents did. Just like, all right, Tim, you'll be all right.
Yeah. I mean, there's different ways where that lesson will show up in life, right?
Yeah.
And the way I've kind of, whenever I kind of like take a step back and reflect on what's going on into like today for me, whatever that might be, I come back to the whole saying of a lesson will repeat itself in your life in different ways and fashions until you learn it. Unless you choose, I mean, it's either you learn from it or it's going to keep repeating.
Yeah.
Right? And you can have the mindset of, why is this always happening to me? Or what is the lesson that I'm supposed to learn to move on from this? Right?
Yeah.
And one of the things, going off of what you're saying, we can talk shop about that, right? About like failure and what that truly means versus learning through activity and understanding, like, say, how to grow from that.
I might have to have another one of those.
We should. And for me, the biggest thing has been a saying that didn't hit home until I had experienced it, right? If you look around, you're stripped of everything, material, physical, everything, and you're still okay. What left do you have to lose? What more do you have to fear? If you're in your worst state mentally and wherever you are financially at that point in time, and you know that it's either survive or quit, there's only one choice. And if you surpass that, what else in your life is ever going to scare you that much? There's nothing. You know, and being in that place multiple times, I've sat back and questioned, am I on the right path?
Yeah.
But then when I look at everyone that's on the other side of that horizon, they're like, yes, you are. Keep going.
It might be hard, but you're doing it.
Right. I mean, what's the, like, we only have two regrets in life, right?
Not doing something.
Right? It's either discipline, right? Or I mean, quite frankly, it's either discipline or regret.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So either I'm going to do it or I'm not, and if I'm not, then am I always going to have that linger in the back of my head? Like, what's the worst that can happen?
And all that it really took was being disciplined enough to actually do it.
Or being around the right people. We can talk about environments all day, too.
Yeah, we can do that. But, time for another interview.
Absolutely.
Dude, thanks for being real with me.
Anytime.
That's fucking awesome.
Anytime, brother.